Welcome to Break the Board Sports. It's your boy RJ Cash breaking down the SEC games this Saturday. Man, we got a great slate. We got Bama traveling to Missouri. We got Florida Texas A&M. We got Oklahoma and Texas in the Red River Shootout. And then we got a great one, Georgia and Auburn, along with Tennessee, Arkansas, a couple other games there. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. We had a good night in college football last night. Remember, we gave out Sam Houston State plus 7.5. Also, some of our leans hit. Hockey was great as we had a sweep the board in hockey outside of the parlay we had with the over-under, taking the under there in the Dallas game. But the Knights hit, the Canucks hit, the Hurricanes hit, the Panthers hit, and then our double unit play on the New York Rangers hit along with the Nashville Predators. Baseball, Phillies, heartbreaking loss for us, but we'll get back on. Check out our MLB show today. Check out our NFL Teaser Best Bet show every day, 4 pieces of content, giving you trends and angles to help you become a better handicapper, right? So you can pick your own games and not have to rely on a bunch of touts. If you do want to follow somebody, you can go to breaktheboardsports.com, $1.37 a day. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. Let's get into it. First game on the board as we start going down through these SEC games, noon kick time. The Crimson Tide visit Missouri. Right now, Alabama's laying 3. They're catching 78% of bets, 72% of the handle, as to where Missouri, the home team, catching the 3, 22% of bets and 28% of the handle. Now, that over-under is at 51.5, and the books are absolutely going to need the under here because 76% of tickets and handle are to the over. 24% are to the under in this one. When you look into this game, let's hop right into a couple trends and stats. Alabama 4-1 against the spread over their last 5, including 4-1 straight up in that situation. Now, ATS, Missouri 8-2 against the spread their last 10, and they've won 8 straight games overall. But check this out. The Missouri Tigers 15-0 their last 15 games in Columbia at home. Missouri on a 15-game home winning streak. However, against Alabama head-to-head with Missouri, Alabama's 4-1 against the spread over their last 5 games against the Tigers. Now, Tigers, 5 of their last 6 games have went over the total, but for Alabama, 8 of their last 10 have went under the total when they're head-to-head here. 8 of the last 12 overall. My apologies. Now, getting into this, over the last 10 games, we talked about Missouri on that 9-game winning streak. They did lose 1. They've had 9 in a row for them. Now, at home, 10 straight home wins for them. In that span for Missouri of 10 straight home wins, they're 7-3 ATS. Now, the Crimson Tide, the road team here, They've struggled a little bit, ATS on the road, going 3-7 against the number. Last 10 games as an underdog, ATS. Missouri, 7-3 ATS. So a lot of things pointing to the Missouri Tigers here in this one. Now, 5-0 Missouri, 4-1 Alabama. Alabama in that time frame, 4-1 ATS. Missouri's 3-2. However, these two teams played last year in Alabama, a game in which Alabama won 34-0. And I always believe your power rankings, and what that is you should rank all the teams yourself, have your own power rankings, whatever formula it is. But a lot of people thought Alabama was the best team in the country. Obviously, they came out week 1 and had that stinker against Florida State. As always, you'll have to excuse my dogs. They love postmen and Amazon men. But when you look at this, Missouri's never beat Alabama, and Alabama's been proclaimed one of the best teams in the country, if not the national champion preseason. Nobody was really talking about Missouri. So let's look at the past. Alabama, obviously last week, the huge win over Vanderbilt, who's much better than I thought they were. They pulled out the win at Georgia. They beat up Wisconsin. UL Monroe doesn't really count. And then that Florida State game to kick off the season. But when I flip the other side, Missouri's 5-0, and Missouri always seems to put a solid defense. But I keep hearing about how great Missouri is. But they had Massachusetts last week, a down South Carolina team, UL Lafayette, Kansas, and Central Arkansas. So I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit. I think there's a lot of value and a lot of steam for Missouri. But the reality is here, you got to go Alabama money line or nothing. I get all the things about, oh, well, you know, Alabama, you know, they had the tough game against Vanderbilt and Georgia. Now they got to get up for Missouri. They're not very good against the spread on the road. Like, I get all that. All that makes a ton of sense. And I can see the handicap. And again, I'm not trying to talk you off Mizzou. Again, here at Break the Board Sports, we give you trends and all that to help you become a better handicapper to pick your own side. I'm just saying, me personally, it may sound very squarish, but I got to go with Bama here on the money line. I just have to. I can't take a team like them. I think there's a far contrast between them and Missouri. Okay. And I know Florida State hasn't, they've lost their past 2 games, but I can tell you right now, if you were to put them head to head, Florida State and Missouri, Florida State's a much better team. I'm sorry, they just are. So I think that, Missouri's a dog with fleas. I think a lot of people are high on them, but I'm not really trusting that. Again, I can get where you see if Missouri, they've won 15 straight at home. So I get your logic of them catching 3. But, last week I took Washington +9 at home against Ohio State because Washington had won 20 games in a row at home. And they had this great home field advantage, did the Huskies. And how'd that work out for me? Just saying. So, couple other trends here. Missouri, we talked about their streak at home. If you had followed the last 7, you're up 7.35 units, about a 15% return on your investment. We talked about Missouri being a covering machine. 10 of the last 13, they've covered the spread. If you had been following that, you're up 6.7 units, about a 47% return on your investment. First quarter spread, Missouri catching a half. 8 of the last 13 games, they've clipped that off. That puts you up 2.59 units, about a 17% return on your investment. Now, for the first half, Missouri catching 1.5. They have not been very good covering the first half spread, have the Tigers. They've only covered the first half spread in 4 of their last 13. If you had been betting them to cover, you're down 6.3 units, 42% return on your investment. Alabama now, they're 8-5 ATS over their last 13, put you up 2.5 units there. Alabama also first half game total under. Whole game and first half, the unders hit 8 of the last 12. If you have been going with the unders, you're up 3.55 units in that span, 26% return on your investment. Outside of that, 5 of the last 6 on the road have cashed to the under. Right now, that over-under is 51.5. And I told you, only 24% of bets and money going to that under 51.5. So going to be something you want to take a peek-see at there. 5 of the last 6 games on the road, Alabama's games have went under the total. If you have been following that, you're up 3.9 units, about a 59% return on your investment. If you like Alabama in the first quarter on the money line, that is cashed 8 of the last 10 games. You'd be up 4 units, only a 9% ROI. But in this game, they're only laying $1.25 for the first quarter. Alabama, anywhere from $1.50 to $1.67 on the money line in this game. I'm going to be playing Alabama here on the money line. Let's go ahead and call it the $1.47. Make sure you're shopping around to get the best buy. Again, if you're taking Missouri, I totally get it. I'm also going to take the under 51.5 in this game. I think the under is a strong play here. I think Missouri, again, the step up in talent, okay, against Simpson and company is going to be hard for them to be able to stay with. I think Missouri is going to have a hard time scoring. Look, Alabama held Georgia to 21. I feel like Georgia's way better than Missouri. So Alabama money line and the under in that game is going to be the lean. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. Let's go to our next SEC matchup here and break it down. We're going to go to Arkansas and Tennessee, and this one is really, really interesting when you look at this game. Right now, Tennessee laying 12.5. There's a couple 13s that have started to pop up. You're over under 68.5. Now, Arkansas firing their head coach. Bobby Petrino has resurrected from the dead, but Arkansas is still a mess. But they got the talented quarterback Green. Arkansas can score still. I think they'll finish the season on a higher note, right? They're not a top SEC team by no means, but look aheads are important. For Tennessee, where do they go next week? Tennessee goes to Alabama. and Tennessee still has a chance at the college football playoff. So the fact, are they looking ahead to Alabama, maybe overlooking an Arkansas team right now, 12.5, couple 13s, 68.5 the over-under. Tennessee is getting 81% of tickets and 78% of the handle. So books are going to need the Razorbacks to snort a little bit here for the Hoggies. 19% of bets and 22% of the handle is going to Arkansas. Your over-under pretty much split across the board there between these two teams. Now, when you get into some spread, some ATS trends to kind of help you out with your handicap here to decide which side you want to take in this game, let's hop into that information. So going with Tennessee first here as I scroll down on my sheet. Tennessee, 16-4 straight up their last 20 games. But more importantly, Knoxville, very hard place to play. Tennessee, 10-1 straight up their last 11. The total has gone over 5 of the last 6 games for Arkansas, and they haven't been good against the spread. Again, firing the coach, all that mess, 1-4 ATS their last 5 games. Now, we talked about over has cashed 5 of the last 6 games for the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's cashed 9 straight games for Tennessee. 9 straight games to the over here. But what I will say is when these two teams have hooked up, 5 of the last 6 have actually went under the total here. Something else, you used to say, well, Tennessee, it's under 2 touchdowns. They should roll Arkansas. Want to give you pause. Again, Tennessee got to go to Tuscaloosa and play Alabama next week. But let's look, how has Arkansas fared against Tennessee? And Tennessee, not an elite SEC team either. I mean, I think they're better than Arkansas, obviously. But Arkansas, over the last 6 games, 5-1 straight up against the Vols. 7-1 against the spread the last 8 games against Rocky Top. When you put that together, look, I think there's reason to pause here. Catching almost 2 touchdowns, that's a lot of value, in my opinion. Now, we talked about let's go a little deeper with Arkansas over the last 10 games, 3-7 ATS. The overs. The over is cashed 7 of the last 10 games for the Razorbacks. The over is cashed 9 of the last 10 for the Vols, 9 in a row in that one. Last 10 games at home for the Vols, 9-1 straight up. Now, but again, ATS, 7 of the last 10 games on the road for the Razorbacks, they've cashed against the spread. So that's a very good road trend coupled with the trends with Tennessee. A lot of things here that I'm liking. Now, again, against the spread as a road underdog, 7 of the last 10 have cashed for the Arkansas Razorbacks. When you look at this head-to-head for these two teams, they met up last year in Arkansas. Arkansas, 19-14, got the win. This is a better Arkansas team, folks. Arkansas has won the last 4 meetings, but really 2024 last year and 2020 were really the last 2 irrelevancy. Both of those were in Arkansas. This one's in Tennessee. Last time Arkansas was in Tennessee was 2015. The Razorbacks went into Neyland and got a 24-20 win. Give me the Razorbacks here plus 13. Going to put that play in pocket. I just think it's too many points. I think you get a little bit of the look-ahead spot. I would hold off putting this bet in, though. It's Friday. Maybe wait. This game's not till 4:15 Eastern time on Saturday. Maybe wait till about 1, 2 o'clock, a little bit of a late put in because it's going to go up way before it's going to go down. Public's going to be all over Tennessee. Maybe you get a 13.5 where you can buy a hook to lay $1, $20, $25 and get plus 14. I would just pause and hold on this one, but definitely give me the Arkansas Razorbacks. Florida coming off the big win at home in the Swamp against Texas. Now they'll travel to College Station. And Texas A&M quietly, the number 5 team in the country, and quietly behind Coach Shane Elko, looking like a national championship contender. They've had some big wins. They're laying 7.5 to the Gators. Now, 62% of bets are going to the hometown Texas A&M Aggies, but 46% of the handle. So a little higher ticket count, lower handle. Kind of flip-flop the other way. Florida catching 38% of bets, but 54% of the handle. I think you're going to see a clear contrast. I think it's going to stay around that 50-50 mark, but make no mistake about it. I would say 80% of your pros are going to take the points with the Gators. The rest are going to take are going to lay the points with Texas A&M. Your public, rather, is going to lay the points with Texas A&M. I think that one's how it's going to end up shaping out for you in this game. Now, as far as your head-to-head stuff, Florida 2-3 on the year, both straight up in ATS. Texas A&M 5-0, but only 2-3 against the spread here for them. The bulk of their games have been at home. Has Texas A&M. Now, when you look at Texas A&M coming off Mississippi State, Auburn, haven't had to play a whole lot of tough teams outside of Notre Dame. Utah State team kind of decent, Auburn team kind of decent, Mississippi State, All right. Now, these two teams played in Florida last year, a game in which Texas A&M beat the Gators by almost 2 touchdowns, 33-20. Before that, 2022 was the last time they played in College Station. And wouldn't you know it, the Gators went into College Station and got a win, 41-24. Impressive win there for the Chomping Gators in that one. When I look at this game, obviously a lot of different trends you can look at, but Florida 6-3 over their last 9. Florida has been an ATS machine, right? Everybody's going to remember, not them throwing that game away against South Florida, basically. But they were in that game with LSU. They were giving Miami trouble for a while. Like, Florida is a decent team. They're not a top-tier team. I think Billy Napier still really holds them back. But again, Florida has been really good to bettors. They're 11-4 ATS over their last 15 games. And that defense, the defense is really what's keeping Florida in it, because Lagway has not played well. The under has cashed 8 of the last 9 games for the Florida Gators. The under has cashed 4 of the last 5 on the road for the Gators. Now, that over-under set at 47.5, books are going to need that under. Let me tell you, 79% of tickets and 90% of the handle to the over. 21% of tickets and 10% of the handle to the under. So listen, every sports book is going to be saying, please give me the under. Now, we talk about Texas A&M, 5-0 their last 5. They're also 9-1 straight up their last 10 at home. But again, Texas A&M, they've really struggled to cover. They're 2-8 against the spread over their last 10, as the old ball coach from Florida used to say. Not very good. Again, Texas A&M against the spread, 2-8 over their last 10. Florida over their last 10 over-unders, 8 games to the under. And so been really good there. Texas A&M, we talked about the 9-game winning streak at home for them. 9-1 over their last 10 at home for them. Been very, very good. But their last 10 games when Texas A&M is favored, they're just 3-7 ATS. Florida's last 10 games when an underdog totally flip-flop, 7-3. They're on that one. Now, straight up, Florida as a dog, they've lost 10 straight on the road as an underdog straight up. But we talked about for Texas A&M, that 9-1 record for them at home. Another thing just to take into account here as far as this goes is I would look to the under and I would look to Florida. So that over-under is 47.5. I'm not a big teaser player in college. I love teasers in the NFL. They can make you a lot of profit. But I'm going to take a shot with this one teaser this weekend. Give me a 2-team 7-pointer. Yes, I know you're going to have to lay $1.30, $1.40. Oh, RJ, the juice. Look, if you pick winners, juice takes care of itself, right? I do think you have to be conscious of juice, but you can't all the time not make a bet because of juice, right? Give me a 2-team 7-pointer in this game. Give me under 54.5. Books are already going to need under 47.5. Under 54.5 with Florida plus 14.5. Give me a single unit on that, and give me a single unit on the under 47.5 in this game outright. Love those two plays. That's what we're going to ride with. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. Georgia and Auburn. Now, Georgia at Auburn coming off, they had the game against Kentucky. Obviously, they had the debacle against Alabama. They really shouldn't have lost that game. The drop touchdown pass on the bomb there late in the third quarter. And then they should have kicked the field goal from the 11. Not really sure what was going through the mind there of Kirby Smart. But now they head to Auburn, which against the quarterback Arnold, Auburn looking pretty okay. Now, Georgia and Auburn head-to-head met last year in Georgia. Georgia, 31-13. They got the win over Auburn. These two teams have played every year since 2016, but the last 8 have went to Georgia. Georgia laying 3.5, a very small number here. When you look back at the scores, though, Auburn has not been able to get within Georgia less than 7 points, but one time, right on the nose, 27-20 at Auburn in 2023. If you look at all the rest, they've been blowouts, absolute blowouts. Georgia has walked the dog on them over and over again. Now, last 10 games straight up, Auburn 6-4. Georgia is 8-2. The over-unders 3-7, 3 overs, 7 unders for Auburn over their last 7 games. Georgia, they have not been able to cover games over their last 10. They're just 3-7 against the spread, but on the road, straight up, they are 7-3. So not bad there. Straight up as an underdog, Auburn 3-7, not a very good record. Now, Georgia, when they're straight up as a favorite, 7 wins, 3 losses. When Auburn is a home underdog, straight up 1-9. So a very short number. Not saying Auburn needs to win. They could lose by a field goal, but 1-9 doesn't make me feel good. But as a home underdog, ATS, Auburn right down the middle, 50-50. Straight up record as a road favorite, Georgia 7-3, but ATS is a road favorite, just 3-7. So again, couple things that make you pause there, okay? Now, Georgia, we talked about this, 8-2 straight up their last 10, but Georgia has struggled to cover spreads. They're just 1-5 ATS over their last 6, 2-8 ATS over their last 10. But again, I want to go back to 8 straight wins against Auburn, and they're 9-3 against the spread their last 12 games against Auburn. They've really walked the dog, and some of those that Auburn covered were where they were catching like 20, right? So the under 5 of the last 6 have cashed for Auburn. 9 of the last 12 head-to-head between these two teams have went to the under in this game. Again, Georgia is laying 3.5 on the road. You're over under 46.5. Now, 84% of tickets, 65% of the handle on Georgia. I don't expect that to change. I expect books and bookies to need Auburn. 16% bets, 35% of the handle going to War Eagle. Now, that over under 46.5, very rarely am I ever going to tell you where an under is getting most of the bets. Public loves overs. No difference here. 78% of tickets, 62% of the handle. However, Georgia on the money line, minus $1.75. I really don't want to lay the 3 with the hook, but I think you can get creative with this game. I do think Georgia wins. I can't really get a situation here where I'm like, Georgia's going to lose the game. Now, Auburn may keep this close. I don't want to deny that. Now, I don't want to lay $1.76 again. I told you there's a time and a place for juice, but I love a plus money bet. You can go to FanDuel right now, plus $1.10. Give me a 2-team parlay. Georgia on the money line and Oregon on the money line. 2 teams I feel really good about. Give me a double unit play, plus $1.10 on those 2 games. We'll ride that out. South Carolina at LSU, the nightcap in the SEC. LSU laying 8.5, over under 44.5. As far as that over under, totally flipped. Again, you'll hear me say this probably at least once every show. High ticket count, low dollar amount, typically public. Not always, but more than likely public. Lower ticket count, higher dollar amount, that's your pros, right? So never more true here with this over under 44.5. 81% of tickets to the over, but only 39% of the handle. For the under, only 19% of tickets, but 61% of the handle here. Again, 8.5 is the spread here at LSU. They're catching 65% of the bets, 55% of the handle is the LSU Tigers. The Gamecocks of South Carolina getting 35% of tickets and 45% of the money in this one. As far as the matchup goes against the spread and straight up trends, South Carolina, they have been able to cover spreads, and LSU, they can't blow anybody out. Not sure what Brian Kelly and Nussmeier was supposed to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. LSU's been able to hang around, but they're nothing impressive. Like if the regular season ended right now, they'd be in the college football playoff, and I know they got a lot of talent, but I don't think they've played well, right? South Carolina, 12-5 against the spread their last 17. Now, LSU is 7-1 straight up over their last 8, and they've won 5 straight home games. South Carolina, 9-3 straight up their last 12. But LSU has an 8-game winning streak against South Carolina. They've absolutely pummeled them. And the over between these two teams has cashed 4 of the last 5 meetings between South Carolina and LSU. Last year, these two teams played in South Carolina. LSU got by them by the skin of their tinny-tin teeth, 36-33 there in that one. Couple other spread trends here for you. Again, Break the Board Sports. Click that like, hit subscribe, help you become a better handicapper. We talked about South Carolina, 9 of their last 13 covering, put you up 4.6 units, 32% return on your investment. The first half over-under, right now it sits at 21.5. LSU has hit those first half game unders 10 of their last 12. If you've been following that trend, you're up 7.85 units, a 58% return on your investment. Game total under, 9 out of the last 12, up 5.7 units, 43% return on your investment. Now, South Carolina, that first half spread, right now, LSU is laying anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5, depending on where you shop. Again, always have multiple betting outlets. South Carolina has covered the first half spread 5 of their last 6 games on the road. Right now, if you've been following that, you're up 3.85 units, 56% return on your investment, and that's going to be my play in this game. Give me South Carolina plus 5.5 for the first half in this game. That's where I'm going to lean. First half money line, though, LSU, they're laying 267. They've hit that 5 of their last 7 home games, put you up 3.2 units, but only a 4% return on your investment. If you think South Carolina is really going to come out and raise hell in this one, plus 230 on the first half money line, they've hit that 6 of the last 9 games, would put you up 1.85 units for this one. So let's just recap our plays here. We got a 2-team money line parlay for a double unit. We're going to go Georgia and Oregon on the money line plus $1.11. I'm going to take South Carolina plus 5.5 in the first half for a single unit. Then we're going to take Alabama on the money line minus $1.47 for a single unit. Then we're going to do the we're going to do Arkansas plus 13 for the game for a single unit play. Then we're going to do the under 47.5 for a single unit play in the Texas A&M game. Then we're going to do a 2-team 7-point teaser, Florida plus 14.5 and under 54.5, minus $1.35 there for that. Again, click that like, hit subscribe, check out all of our content, 3 to 4 pieces a day, helping you become a better handicapper at Break the Board Sports. God bless and happy handicap.